Hi guys, it's Christine, also known as Chrissy and Creatively Chrissy here on YouTube. Today I'm sharing some footage of me sketching in my digital sketchbook over 2 nights. So this is in Procreate if you guys aren't familiar with it. It's a draw this in your style, which you will see all the information for at the end of this video because I am using it as this week's Draw This in Your Style spotlight showcase. I don't know what to call it, but I picked this one and there's an interesting story behind it. But first I wanted to talk a little bit about why I wanted to do this digitally. For one thing, this artist, her name is Made by Loloco on Instagram, and her actual name is Loloco. And she did this drawing digitally. I've followed her for a while. I guess I'm just gonna get into the story. I followed her first on TikTok for a little bit at the beginning of this year. I still follow her, and I ended up finding her over on Instagram because I absolutely adore her style. I think it's really pretty. I love the colors. I love how she draws people. So it was just, me as a fan following her. And a couple weeks back, she was sharing that she was working on a Draw This in Your Style, and it was to celebrate reaching 25K on Instagram. So when it finally came out, I was like, oh my gosh, I want to do this because I really love her work. And it was really gorgeous too. It'll be in the thumbnail when you guys click on this, or you'll see it at the end because I do the showcase with it. But it was just something I really wanted to do, and I approach my digital sketchbook very differently than I approach my traditional sketchbook, if you guys haven't noticed by now. When it comes to my digital sketchbook, I like to draw one big drawing on every canvas or page, and typically I'm excluding the whole Miley Cyrus one, but when I say that, but I do that's how I enjoy drawing digitally. And I think I'm going to try maybe translating that over to my traditional sketchbook because I've been struggling, guys. I have been struggling so hard to draw in it and to want to draw in it. I just tend to go or gravitate towards digital art. And I know that's not something I should be apologizing or feeling guilty for, but it is, because I think digital art in general is just so saturated. But I guess you can make the same argument for traditional art because traditional art's been around for centuries and digital art only came into being with, I would say, in the last, maybe 60, 70 years. I wouldn't say 100 because in the 1920s, we did not have television, I think, or television was just coming out or something like that. I'm not a history buff, I do apologize. But yeah, I don't know why I feel so guilty. I feel like I should be doing more traditional stuff, and I think part of that is because so many people like my traditional sketchbook stuff. And I get why, because I feel like it's so much easier for people to draw digitally, or people think that it's so much easier to draw digitally, which is not the case. It's just a different set of skills. I will say one of the things that is a very big pro of drawing digitally is that you can edit it without erasing. You'll see a couple times in this sketchbook process that I use the liquify tool or the lasso tool to size up or size down things, just because I realized, hey, her head's not as big as I want it. So there is that. Also, I don't know. I don't enjoy my sketchbook all that much. And when I say my sketchbook, I mean my traditional one. And I'm trying to figure out why. Because I don't want to be, I guess, not as into it as I used to be. But I definitely find I gravitate towards digital art. I find myself wanting to do more digital art than traditional art. And I'm starting to just let that be. And I'm sorry if you guys are here for traditional stuff It's just, it is what it is. That's what I'm feeling right now, and I'm gonna go whatever way, you know, the artist in me wants to go, because it's that or struggling to make art, and I don't want to struggle to make art. The other thing I've been kind of beating myself up on is I look at other people's Instagrams and they're pushing out like drawings every day. Like this one woman I follow, her art is amazing, and she just does sketches, very detailed sketches that she puts out every day. I love how she draws people, and I'm awed by her, but I'm also very much jealous because I wish I could do that, but I can't. I'm very slow. If you had seen this footage, the amount of times I stop and I look at the screen because I had, not my iPad screen, but my Mac screen, because I had the original Draw This in Your Style up for me to look at, and just stared at it, then stared at my drawing, then stared at it, and like my hand is just like hovering over the iPad the whole time I'm doing this. It was crazy. I had to cut out so much footage. So you guys might look at this and be like, oh, this is a 30-minute video. It was not 30 minutes in real life. It was more like, I would say 2.5 hours between 2 nights, and this is after me working my 9 to 5. So you know, it's exhausting. It's tiring sometimes, especially at the end of the day. But I found with this one, it was easier for me to get into it. And once I was into it, I was so happy. So, and that's, I think I touched on this in an earlier video, how sometimes I won't want to draw at all, but then I'll kind of push past that and just draw, and then find myself loving it. Like time just goes by so quick because I'm sitting there drawing a drawing that I didn't even want to start in the first place. I did not want to even open this iPad or open that sketchbook, but here I am continuing it and not wanting to stop, even though, hey, it's bedtime. So, you know, it's crazy how that works, and I can't predict how I'm gonna feel about a piece. But this piece, I was so into it. I'm still very into it. I can't wait to get back to it. And I don't think I'm going to record the painting process unless you guys really want that. I just found my Draw This in Your Style videos in the past didn't do as well unless I did them traditionally, which I only did one traditionally because traditional media scares me still, which is not good. I know I have to fix that, but digital art is just more fun for me, I guess, right now. And I'm leaning into it. I'm also leaning into however I feel like drawing stylistically, because I tend to lean more realistic and I want to become better at realism, but I also kind of just enjoy drawing however I want, you know? So you'll see this girl doesn't, when you see me get into the more detailed sketch, which will be shortly, because right now I'm finishing up the rough sketch. I do not, I do not care how realistic it looks, because I'm literally looking at a drawing that's very stylized. And I wouldn't say I have a style. That's why I kind of struggle with Draw This in Your Styles, because everyone's like, you have to draw it in your style, but I don't really have a style. So it's just however I feel like drawing at the moment. And I frankly don't really want an art style, and I can do a whole video on why I don't want an art style. But that's another thing I can explain. I mean, I guess another way of putting it is I don't want just one art style. And there are a lot of people, a lot of artists out there that do have different portfolios done in different styles for different things. So I don't think it's too crazy to say that, but I definitely think so many people put so much emphasis on finding a style, especially when it comes to, building a portfolio, trying to get work, trying to get commissions, because in the future I would like to do a couple of commissions every once in a while, and it's going to be hard for me because I have to present a style to people, because if they want the style and whatever style I drew in for one specific drawing, and then I'm presenting them with a different style, I don't think they'll be as pleased, which I don't want whoever's paying me to make them art not like the art I'm giving them. That's just basic business, I guess. So, you know, that's the struggle with that. But I don't know, I really enjoyed this. I think one of the things I would like to do in the future is like Dungeons and Dragons commissions, 'cause I just think those are so cool. But, you know, being an avid role player myself, I do like the idea of doing D&D characters. I want to draw some of my characters, my original characters. I've been really scared too, because as I said, it's hard for me to like translate how I picture them in my head onto paper, which is why I think the last time I tried to draw an OC was a while ago, a long time ago. And then the first time I did it recently, I, didn't really, I guess I wasn't really in the mood. I have no idea. Because like I have this picture in my head. It's not clear, but at the same time it kind of is. Like I know she has, the expression siren eyes. Like I know she has those kind of eyes, and she has these black, like a black fringe, but her hair is curly. So it's hard because I almost want to get multiple reference photos so I get like the right nose and the right eyes, but it's impossible to find that, if that makes sense, and then translate it from multiple photos or reference photos into a person. And I was doing it traditionally, which made it even harder. It's in my sketchbook. When I do a tour, I'll show you guys it, but I was really not happy with how it came out. I remember not feeling it. So I think the next time I try to draw an OC, it's going to be digital, and I'm not going to put as much pressure on myself, I think, because I do want to start drawing some OCs. And I also want to continue doing Draw This in Your Styles. I think, I don't know why I had this thought in my head that people don't like that I'm doing Draw This in Your Styles all the time. Like most of my drawings, my finished pieces are Draw This in Your Style. And I don't really see it as a problem when I think about it, like out of the context of, considering what other people think, because it's what I want to draw. And it's not like I'm not exercising that muscle, So I guess this is my message to you guys. Draw whatever you want, in whatever medium you want, whatever comes easiest. Yes, there are times where you should challenge yourself by picking a subject you don't normally do, or, drawing traditionally when you prefer digitally. And it's okay, like, to let that be a once in a while kind of thing, because it's not like you're not getting better by drawing what you want to draw, if that makes sense. So when you're in the mood, or when I'm in the mood to, learn something new, to sit down and take a class, then I'm going to take a class. But when I'm not going to force it, because it's like pulling teeth for me. It's like the worst feeling, and I don't want more reasons to have a difficult relationship with art, because I've always had one. And for some reason, I've always been like, a people pleaser. I want to make art that other people like. But I think I need to stop thinking that way, because everyone tells you that draw what you want to draw. And I never really believed that, because it was just like, well, if I only drew what I want to draw, does that mean, like, what about everyone else? I want people to be able to relate to my work. I want people to like it, And that shouldn't be important, I don't think. I mean, yeah, I still want you guys to like it, but it shouldn't be a priority to me. Like, not so much so that I'm not going to draw, or that it's controlling what I'm drawing, because if I do that, then it's going to feel like a chore and not something I want to do, if that makes sense. I'm also going to stop beating myself up about all, like, providing content, because one of the things with the social media plan I have is I was basically assuming I would have all this content, and I don't. And that's okay, because I am working a 9 to 5. I have other hobbies. I'm trying to have a life outside of work and, YouTube. So, I think it's important to just be okay with quality over quantity. I'd rather have a couple of pieces every couple months that I'm really in love with than, a bunch of drawings I'm not happy with. But then it's like, well, shouldn't you be drawing all the time to try to improve? And who cares if you make mistakes? Well, I care that I make mistakes. I know I need to figure that out, but I do. And I guess it's just, I don't know, it's just difficult trying to play both sides, I guess. Like the side of me that's, just do what you want to do, have fun. And the side that's like, well, you also have to appeal to people, and, in order to get better, you have to actually challenge yourself and draw a lot. Because you know what they say, you're not a master till you've spent, I think 10,000 hours on something. And I've been drawing pretty much my whole life on and off, but I would never say I'm a master, obviously, at art. And I don't think I ever will be. So I don't know. I don't know how you guys feel about it. I'm always overthinking things, but that's just what's on my mind right now as I'm recording this. And I did want to talk a bit about the drawing itself and the drawing process, because this was not hard, but it was time consuming, and there were parts where I did struggle. So the first little bit that I wanted to point out is the hand, because I was so proud of that hand. I am not by any means great at drawing hands, but I think I've definitely improved in my ability to look at something and translate it onto the page, because I've been kind of practicing it on and off for about a year now, intentionally. So that's good. I can look at something and I can translate it on the page if, I'm willing to slow down and not rush it, which I think is a fantastic thing to see improvement in. But it's still the piece of getting something out of my head and onto the canvas or paper. The other things that I really loved about this drawing was the arm too, because the foreshortening is always tricky, well, to me at least. And I really loved her face. I did not expect to love her face as much as I did. Her eyes particularly, because I get really, really harsh on myself about eyelashes. And I wish I had done this drawing a little bit bigger, because when I did do her eyes, it was sort of pixelated. I couldn't make the brush small enough to do what I wanted to do. And I think in the future, I just have to make the canvas bigger, but I was trying to figure out what's a good size for Instagram if I wanted to post this. So, it's tricky, but if you guys have any tips on that, greatly appreciate it. And the other thing that I really liked was how her hair came out, even though it was a struggle. Her hair was a struggle, and you will see me struggle with it, even though I cut out most of the footage of me struggling, because I just felt like it was literally a lot of me erasing, drawing, undoing, all in that order over and over again. So I just thought, you guys don't need to watch that. I don't even like watching that. So the other thing I was really proud of was how her hair piece came out with all the flowers and leaves. And by the way, this is just her. I haven't done all the background and foreground elements besides the moon. on the left-hand side of the drawing, there's supposed to be a bunch of flowers and leaves that are both behind her and in front of her. So I still have to do that piece, but I was happy just to get her finished this week, just the girl. And it was, as I said, a lot of fun. I was really enjoying myself. I had, if you guys are familiar with The Sims, I had someone doing a Let's Play, and I was listening to that while I was drawing. And it was just a nice way to decompress at the end of a long day. And I'm just happy I did it in the end, because it was, rewarding. I was so happy watching back this footage on this drawing, because I was just so proud of how everything came out. I mean, even watching myself struggle in certain places, I was just it was so worth it, because in the end I am really happy with the results. So that's another thing for you guys to kind of think on, because I almost didn't, after I made the rough sketch, the next day I was so tempted to not continue it, because I was just it's taking me too long. I need, footage for this weekend to post a video, and I was just not jiving on it. But then I looked at the drawing again that Lil Loco did, and I was just I want to do it. I want to finish it. So I went back and started on the next layer, which was the more detailed sketch. So, sometimes, yes, you should walk away from a drawing and come back to it much later, but I think I still had it in me that I wanted to do this. And as I said, I'm so happy I did, despite the struggles. And if you have a draw this in your style that you want to do, even if it's this one, do it. Especially if you want to. Just do it. Who cares if your whole Instagram profile is just draw this in your styles? It's not a big deal. Especially because you are learning stuff, if I was to come up with an original character with such a headpiece, with all these, just looking at that headpiece, when I was looking at the original artwork that I was drawing in my own style, I was overwhelmed, especially because it was colored. It was, there were so many little details. I was just how am I gonna break this down? And at some point, I just stopped trying to be so accurate to the original drawing. I was just if it looks like it, who cares, But I kind of learned how to make an arrangement, draw a floral arrangement on someone's head. I don't know, I also am very proud of, I know I mentioned the one hand, but both hands. I thought they both came out really good. The only thing missing is the golden ribbon running through them, but I'll get to that later. Not in this video, but in my life. So if you guys made it this far, thank you. I really appreciate it. I hope you've been enjoying the video, and if you did, please consider giving this video a like. It lets me know, as well as YouTube know, that you like this type of content, and it also puts it in front of other people's eyes. You can also maybe post a comment if you have some time. If not, that's completely fine. But if you want to talk to me about something I talked about, please feel free to ask any questions or provide your opinion in the comments. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing. If you ring the little bell, you'll know every time a new video comes out. And I post every Sunday, except, when life gets in the way, because that happens. And I hope you guys do consider watching this to the end and, taking a look at the original artist's piece, as well as their information for the Draw This in Your Style. You can join. It's still open till April 10th. And honestly, that's plenty of time. I mean, I know it's less than a month, but you still can maybe bang something out before then. And that's pretty much all I have to talk about with you guys. If you want to see the painting process of this, please let me know. It probably won't be a top-down, recording of my iPad. Instead, it will be more of a Procreate or screen recording that I'll share with you guys, and probably speed up because Lord knows it's going to take me forever to paint this thing the way I want. And that's it. I hope you guys have an awesome week ahead of you, and I'll see you next Sunday. Thanks for watching. Bye.